What did they play? Knight f3, e6. That's what plays Magnus, plays the Sicilian. He plays to win. And I am curious as you guys to see how he plays. And let's see the Colombian Grandmaster, Garcia Pantoja Roberto. Garcia Pantoja Roberto. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Okay. We should be live on a few platforms. Now let me have a quick look at um, these platforms and just want to check if we are actually live. Yeah, if we're live on YouTube, definitely I'm live on Facebook, kick.com, Twitch, and so forth. Okay. Sound in order looks here. All right. Things are fine. Cool stuff. C4. Hey, you know something, guys? Let me cover up the moves. Yeah, I think that's probably best to do chess. Knight c3, developing. These are theoretical moves, so I'm pretty sure they will be playing quite theoretically up to a point. And of course, I want to look at Richard Report as well. Simpson, good to see you. How's it going? How's it going, my friend? Okay. And thank you for confirming that the sound is good on YouTube. Apparently seems to be the most reliable platforms that I'm currently streaming on. Folks were complaining about TikTok lagging. I don't know why. And I think Twitch and YouTube probably are the most reliable. And I haven't heard any complaints on the Facebook stuff. So yeah, who knows? Many technicalities in between us, software, and the receiver. Okay, Bishop e2 played by Garcia Roberto Pantoja. Bishop e2. Okay. d6, knight c6. What does black play here? Knight c6, d6. What do you play? Is he going to play g6? I don't think so. That's horrible. Weakens the dark squares. No. d6, knight c6, I reckon. Or bishop e7. Unless he wants to do something different. And we're going to find out. Okay. So this is Magnus with the black pieces, my friends. And a Colombian grandmaster. Hey, they have very nice coffee in Colombia, hey? I don't know, I think of coffee. And good stuff, yep. Hello, Tal. How's it going? How's things in Riga nowadays? Okay. So, too many good games. It's you know what's a shame? We just can't cover them all. I mean, there's just too many good games. Magnus and Garcia Roberto, one of them. For instance, let me go to Richard Report. He plays for Hungary, of course. Richard Report, and of course Fabi, Wesley, the guys that we know very well from the American tournament, Levon Aronian, Ray Robson, Richard Report. There you go. They play against the Bulgarian team. Hey, wait a second. That should be what? Austria and Hungary? Oh, right. Sorry, I just mixed them up. Apologies. So Richard Report is black here. Let me just see what they did. Hey, how's the name for the? It's a Sicilian Defense Moscow Variation, Canal Moscow Variation or something. Mm-hmm. G6. You residing in Riga, Tal? Or you just happen to have knowledge about how it was 32 years ago? Bishop b5, g6. G6, the fianchetto goes for this one, of course. Castles, bishop g7, rook e1, always a good idea, specifically if you want to pushing this pawn forwards and perhaps making a trade. e5 to stopping by Richard. Bishop takes, so now gonna give black some double pawns, but not the end of the world. And when you take with the d pawn, you're also encouraging the bishop to moving out, maybe making a pin, maybe bishop e6, who knows. If white has a problem with this, they could do h3. He didn't do it h3, he did d3. So the dark square white bishop is free to play. Okay, queen e7, a4. Interestingly, he pushes the pawn on the a. What about knight c? A4 primarily to dissuade black from playing b5. So in case you do c, you don't have black coming over your knight and harassing and things. Knight f6, that's a developing move. a5, well, that's a brave individual. Valentin Dragnev, playing for Austria. Castles short, knight a3, and this is where it is. Just wanted to have a look through the moves they played previously before they reaching this point. Knight a3. I guess he wants to go knight c4 and bishop g5. Makes sense. Apparently he's not concerned about bishop g4. And I think because after bishop g4, if white goes h3, black is forced to take, or you're going to go bishop e6. Apologies, black is not forced to take. But if they play bishop g4 and you go h3, they could also go e6, although it's funny after knight g5. I don't know. So let's put it this way. Bishop g4, h3, bishop takes, queen captures. I guess you kind of can. Yeah. Quite positional. Quite positional, quite positional, quite positional, and nice. Okay, we'll see what happens. This knight probably has a future on the c3 square. Knight on the c4 square, knight c4, being protected by the a5 white pawn, so there's no harassing on the knight. Cool stuff. Let's see the famous chess streamer and grandmaster and incredibly strong player Peter Lecco here. He traded on f6, and now very likely bishop takes f6. Now you could play this one, I guess, and keep an eye, but the knight is stronger than the bishop. The bishop doesn't have too great of a future here, right? The moving here can be captured. Yeah, exactly. Just go on a temporary outpost on d5 there. And black play more or less similar. So the idea would be that black can also push c6 and white can push c3 and send the knights back eventually. If there is a c6, I'm not sure if I should take on f6. Maybe you want to play knight e3 in order to jump f5. What do you think about this plan? Oh, whoa, that's a mouse slip. No. So again, c6, knight e3. Oh, it's white's turn. c3, where does the knight go? c3. Where do you move the knight? Well, you can very well play here. Yeah, you kind of can. Then maybe g3 to stopping knight. And maybe you could try some knight e3, knight f5. Notice how black will not be wise to play g6, because that's big time weakening the h6, and it just doesn't look incredibly good. So that's about Peter Lecco and Raga Marcus. And of course, the very, very strong Indian team. Hey, Ding Liren plays Vladimir Fedoseev. That would be a challenge. So, again, there's just too many good games. So, the big shame, I don't know how to put it, it's just too many good things at the same time. Too many good games at the same time. So, you're covering some, and then you have the honest regret that you actually can't cover other beautiful and spectacular clashes. So yeah, we do what we can. Prague here being with the black pieces. Tamas Banish. You say, I don't know how to say this, how to say the GM's name. Banish, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so we're at the developing stage of the game. Can you play knight c3? That doesn't look good. Do you develop the bishop? Maybe. You develop the bishop like where? F4. Okay, and after knight h5? Yeah, you gotta go back. Can you play b3? Could it be more promising? No, he played bishop f4. Yeah, that's why. I mean, I was just thinking, where on earth can you get things here? Yeah, Stahl, it's just, although he plays with the white pieces, and this King's Indian seems to be lacking like a bit of space or something. Anyway, bishop f4 doesn't allow e5. So let's just get this rightly. It doesn't allow e5. So black cannot further expand in the center because they got an issue with the bishop f4. If you want to get rid of this bishop, I guess you should do knight h5. And the bishop either goes away or you're going to take it, giving them double pawns, right? Okay. We'll see how the game evolves. Vidit. Let's have a quick look at Vidit. Hey, that's a nice battery here. They play Sicilian? Oh, French. They play French defense. Oh, how was the French? This one play e4, right? d5, this is the French. Knight d2, Tarrasch variations. Okay, c5, takes and takes. Bishop attacks queen, queen goes d7, castles. Knight c6, knight b3, triple attack on d4. And a6. Obviously the b5. Takes, hello Jonathan. Takes, and what do you take with? Knight takes. If you take with the queen, probably gonna get very drawish. Queen takes, knight takes. Yeah, I'm not sure what do you achieve with. Because when you take with the queen, yeah, I mean, it's encouraging the trades. So he didn't want to do that. Queen c7 attacking now the bishop on c4. Bishop d3, knight f6, rook e1, bishop d6, developing and getting ready for castling. Notice that because of the a6 black bishop, white can't play this attractive idea with knight b5. That would be a nice fork, but you cannot because of the a6. And h3, why on earth? He wants to make sure there is no knight g4 coming. I understand now. So h3 doesn't allow knight g4. Okay. Castle short. Okay, now you can do some bishop g5. I guess that's good. I don't think that bad. Bishop g5, attacking here, threatening giving black double pawns. That's a good option, I guess. And you have to develop pieces. Bishop g5 or bishop e3, which one is it? Whoops, that's a mouse slip. He didn't actually play that. Okay, let's look at Dingley Ren Vladimir Feresev. Then we're gonna go to yeah, I've noticed. You know, it was an incredibly difficult. I know why the guy drew. The position was completely won, Jonathan. He drew, the 2000 guy drew because he had like 4 minutes on the clock. Those 4 minutes were from the half an hour that being given after you reach the 40 move threshold. So he had 4 minutes to sort out a very difficult end game, and on the other side of the board was none other than Shahryar Mamedyarov. So he thought that maybe it's not worth the risk. Yeah, he didn't feel like 4 minutes is enough to navigate through an end game which you're playing against two knights. You know, it was, I think Shaq had two knights, and maybe it's just too difficult to make sure you do accurate. And you're playing for your national team, and practically you just want to at least not lose. So probably he took the wiser decision, I guess, the strategical decision. But yeah, the position was won. I guess if the guy had 20 more minutes, he probably would have pushed for a win. Those two knights could be quite a nightmare, Jonathan, in the endgame. So even if you have the rook battery, it's very difficult in their middle game. There were still a couple of pawns. And it's so tough. Like he said, you know, 4 minutes, not enough to play Mamedyarov for a win. Leave it as a draw. So, yeah. And he was on 4 minutes, mind you, Jonathan. All right, Ding and Vladimir Feresev. Queen's pawn, London system here, h6. Well, Do you take or do you go h4? Well, I guess you could do both. Nah, you don't want to take because this bishop becomes too strong. Oh, very nice game. Absolutely super nice game. Jonathan, I agree with you. Very nice game indeed. So, I don't think white wants to capture because the bishop just simply becomes too strong. You kind of helping black to activate its pieces. So bishop h4 seems to be maybe a better choice. Or bishop f4, which one is it? Bishop f4 is not that bad. It could be reacted with knight h5 maybe. Then you're going to play g3. Then they take. Then you take with h. Obviously, you're not going to take with f. Super blunder. So bishop f4, bishop h4, I guess they both to be considered here for Vladimir Fedoseev. Playing for Serbia, right? Yeah. Oh, apologies, Slovenia. Apologies. But I think it's similar, the Serbian flag with the... Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Magnus. Whoa, let's go to Magnus. Magnus plays the Colombian Grandmaster. They do great coffee there, right? Yeah, this is the game I was talking about. What is Magnus doing? And it's a Sicilian, guys. What not to like about it? Castle short. Bishop g7. f3. Hey, this is the Yugoslav. No, it's not the Yugoslav. Because he pushed to c4. Oh, oh, how do you pronounce that thing? Marochi. Marochi. I don't know. I'm no Hungarian. I don't know. Knight c6. And Garcia took. Garcia took. So you have to take back. But Magnus takes with the bishop. Now with a pawn. Interesting was, well, if you take with a bishop, what big deal did you do? You want to attack on the d? I get. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What the? Pressing stuff. I don't even know what was there. Okay, I think I pressed the wrong button there. So knight takes, bishop takes, and right. He wants to get the rook here. Well, yeah, of course, why not? Of course, why not? Bishop b7, or you do g6. No, g6 is bad because of the dark squares are super weak. So you don't play g6, you play bishop e7. Bishop e7, castle short, I guess. Right? And I think he also plans to do some d5 at some point. I don't know when, but I think Magnus wants to play d5. We'll see if I'm correct about this idea. I think makes sort of sense. So let me just put it this. Rook c, d5. Hey, let me say hello to my TikTok friends. I've got a couple of guys via TikTok. Guys, appreciate your presence, even if you stay a few minutes. Thank you all, guys, for stopping by. So I'm enjoying watching the super Grandmasters and Grandmasters playing. We've got some IMs, of course, some FM, IM, and that's just great watching them play. And of course, Magnus with black. Queen d3. Queen d3. If there is any check, he wants to play bishop e3. Bishop takes, queen takes. And then he wants to migrate maybe over to g5 or something. We'll see about that. Queen d3 also one step closer to connecting the two white rooks. That might be the case. Queen d3. And also queen d3, you can't just stay here blocked by a bishop and blocked by a pawn. And, you know, normally in the Dragon Yugoslav attack, white plays this structure to not just stopping knight g4, but also to push g4 with the castle long, castle on the queen side. But here, the Colombian Grandmaster played castle short and the structure with the f3. I don't know. Therefore, those dark squares are not the happiest ever because it's a direct avenue to attacking the white king. Those dark squares. So yeah. I think you're going to have to waste the tempo moving the king one more time to the h1, but when you move on h1, you're coming onto the bishop's destiny. At some point, they're going to be focusing on you. I guess this, guys, could be probably challenged with this move. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Interestingly now, Magnus 1 hour 8 minutes. So what is black supposed to go now? D5 or bishop E7? D5. Let me look at D5. D5 has massive support. One, two, three. Yeah, but not enough. One, two, three, and four. You can't push D5 now. Unless there is a tactic I'm not seeing, which is probably. But bishop E7, like, you want to castle your king, right? So bishop E7. Is there anything else? G6? No, I don't like G6 at all. Hey, Magnus B. Magnus, he goes with age. He spent quite a lot of time thinking here, a few good minutes. He goes with an aggressive intent. H5. And I guess you guys understand why did he do it. He did it because he want to go H4 and H3 and, and bishop to D6, and we're going to look at this. So this is the, and also he enjoys the other bishop looking downwards like this. So that's what is. He wants to go as aggressive as possible, and if necessary, castle long for black. Opposite side castling. Maybe. But h5, I think it's obvious why it was planned and actually played. Castle long if necessary, bishop d6, and that's what you got here. Well, you're not going to push g5 now, but just saying. Obviously, he's not going to play g5. So, too many good games happening everywhere. My God. Okay, okay, Jan Krzysztof, obviously for Poland. Let's see what he plays. That was a Benoni. So h6, queen e1, h6, preventing any knight, and also if there is a queen, do you think you're gonna play a pawn here? G5, of course. H6 for G5, right? I mean, maybe. We'll see about that. He moved quite quickly. I mean, quite fast. Move number 13. Fernando Peralta, playing for Argentina. Okay. This is a bit of a thing that you might be focusing on, but there is a queen here. So I'm not sure how you're gonna do this and for what purpose. So that's not gonna be happening, I guess. What else can white play here? Can you do queen g3? Yeah, but this guy is hanging, right? It doesn't work. So that's a bit of a weakness for white. h3 being played amongst others to prevent knight and queen attacking this guy. So, okay. So far, so good. This bishop is strong. This white bishop is really strong. So black has to be careful about that. That's really a strong bishop here. And the g7 black bishop is also super strong and dangerous. Those diagonals. Hey, where's the rook disappeared? Where's the black rook? That must have been a wild trade. Sorry, what the heck is the rook? Alright, is this a glitch or something, man? Did the rook disappear? Okay, Benoni, fine. Yeah, of course, there was a glitch, fellas. The rook just simply disappeared, right? Oh, he sacked an exchange. He sacked an exchange on e3 because he gives a weak pawn over there on e3. There was no glitch. He sacked an exchange. Castles, knight e7, queen e1, and that's the moment. Okay. Okay. Too many good moves. Sorry, too many good games. And, of course, good moves. Let's see, Richard. Let's see, Richard. Yeah, e5, castles, knight a3. Okay, b5. Do you take en passant? I don't know. I don't know if you take en passant. Because that's a hell of a file, and you haven't even moved the bishop. So I'm not sure if you should take en passant. I'm not sure. But you could play this bishop if you want. And you know something? If they push the pawn one more time, you're going to play knight c4. I think that makes sense. Yeah, Rossalimo attack. Yeah, that was. So if there is any b4, you're going to play knight c4. And it can stay a very long time because there is no pawns to further attack that knight on c4. So b4, knight c4, I think makes sense. What else? What else? What else? What else? Bishop here. Again, en passant, I'm not sure that works very well for white. A takes b6, a takes, and you haven't developed the bishop yet, so the bishop has to go somewhere. g5, e3. If you go bishop e3, you could expect black to play some knight to g4 because you didn't do h3. So maybe Dragnev should play h3. Well, that's another idea. So I'm going to leave the green paint as it is, and we're going to revisit all this beautiful game back to Magnus and see how he does in that Sicilian he plays. Hey, Maxudlu. I don't know which one to watching first. So apparently in the Lee Chess database, there is another game that happened at some point in 2022. Bishop to e3. Yeah, I did say about bishop e3. And yeah, that's clearly the bishop. That's another bishop coming here. And this pawn is going to advance for sure. And probably Magnus going to do castle king, queen side. Long castling for black, right? I mean, you can delay it for a while, but... Well, if you do long castling, imagine this pawn c4 goes c5, and all of a sudden you've got a queen and the bishop looking this way. So I guess you've got to be careful about that castle long. Okay, we'll see about... We'll see what Magnus plays here. Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you, my TikTok friends, for stopping by. Yeah, there's too many good games taking place at the same time. This is the thing. And Magnus takes his time. What would be his next move? Guys, feel free to type in your suggestion about Magnus's next option, next move. What do you think? What can you predict about Magnus's next move? Is he going to play castle long, which I don't think is that good, looking at that battery? Is he going to play bishop d6, which is the most attractive for me? Bishop d6, I like it. It's in the spirit of developing all your pieces, so you need to finish, you need to mobilize all of your guys. So bishop d6, probably. But there is another funny thing about bishop d6. Do you know what that is? Bishop d6, and imagine white reacts with either rook to d. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to play king e7? It's wild, isn't it? If you don't play bishop d6, though, where exactly do you move that bishop and why? It's very passive, bishop e7, although it saves you a tempo. Hard to say. I don't think it's very clear, and I mean, even Magnus himself, you know, even the best, even take his time now to choose this one carefully. He calculates probably all the stuff and more. So bishop d6 will be answered with some rook to d file, and then you have to move either bishop again or defend it. So we can exclude moving bishop again. Hell, you don't exclude nothing. There is a check here. Oh, man. So let me do it again. Assuming bishop d6, which is a very aggressive move and developing move, battery, queen, and bishop looking h2. If white goes rook d, white's gonna lose the h2 and all the dark squares control. Hello, Angad. Thanks for joining our stream. So bishop d6, and I guess white needs to do something about that h2 y pawn. You can't just lose that pawn. You can't do this. Is he going to play f4? Again, to me, bishop... Oh, Angad says fianchetto. If you do the fianchetto, I think you lose control all over the dark squares. I think, Angad, thank you for your idea, but I think it weakens the dark squares. After g6 for black, I guess you say fianchetto for black, right? A move like bishop d4, and I think you just find yourself in a very uncomfortable position. I guess. Unless black wants them to play e5, which will weaken the d5, for which white just simply takes advantage. No. No, I'm not convinced about the fianchetto. I know what you mean. It might make sense, but it looks like the dark squares will be suffering tremendously. I'd rather be inclined to say some bishop d6 idea, and the problem would be white's to sort out the battery attacking h2. And then the problem is white's, and I don't know what white's gonna do. f4, g3, g3, I don't like it, so probably f4. But then black's gonna play rook over to the d and pushing d5. That's also a distinct possibility. I think I like this game. Well, I'm also biased, because I've announced in the title of my stream, Magnus plays in Budapest, which is true. He does play in Budapest. Yeah. Bishop d6 on guard, of course. That's the most aggressive move. I mean, if you want to play something aggressive... Hey, Tejas. I'm sparingly using the engine during the live stream because people getting too lazy to actually think. They're not thinking at all. Okay, I can put the evaluation gauge, but I'm not going to put the software because then we don't do nothing. We can just sit down quietly, just watch the engine doing the work. Okay, let me put the eval bar and let me refresh the page. There's nothing wrong with the software. I mean, especially after the game had finished, definitely you should be using it as a tool for learning and finding better ideas or confirmation and stuff. It's a meager plus 0.36. It's a very small margin. Advantageous for white, but not a big advantage. So, and this is also probably a theoretical opening position. Probably they've kind of studied this thing. But Magnus now takes his time. He's like 24 minutes behind this Colombian grandmaster, Garcia Roberto. Okay, so bishop d6 seems to be the most aggressive move. And I'm inclined to say that's exactly how Magnus wants to play. He wants to play bishop d6. That makes sense. Going back to... hey, Skylab, no, I don't think it... Nah, that losing position that you see on the screen, I think from a human point of view, it's not quite applicable because it's move number 12. And black has his counterplay, and this game is far from over. It's just move number 12. So there are many tactics ahead. Yeah, bishop. There you go. Yes. Man, I've debated for this freaking move. For the rest 10 minutes, I was just debating and pleading for the bishop d6. Bishop d6. Yeah, that's the most aggressive move. But guys, you know something? Magnus stayed like 20-something minutes for this. Tejas, the first step, you just taken it. You actually watch his games and try to think like himself. And look, we kind of like get pretty much, if we focus together making a collective effort, we might just get like almost all the game in its entirety. So watch the Super Grandmasters game. Do not use the software. Try to think with your own mind. I mean, every single turn you are required to make an effort yourself. That is why I'm not using the software. Exactly, Angad. If we use the software, your mind grows incredibly lazy, your chess mind. I'm not sure you're going to be improving with nothing because the engine is going to feed you all the moves. You're not going to be making a bit of an effort. So, my personal approach would be put the software off, watch the game live. Okay, put the eval bar, but that's also a little bit of indicative. So, we are supposed to make an effort ourselves and stuff. Well, Jonathan, I did thought that f4 perhaps could be played by white as you know what f4 means, Jonathan. F4 means that you're going to be giving away the g4 for the black knight. I'm not sure you really like it. I mean, I'm attacking your bishop, right? So when you play f4, Jonathan, you need to be ready for knight g4. Now, if you take with the bishop, it'll be h takes g, inviting also the rook into action. I'm not sure you want that. So f4 comes with everything comes with a consequence, actually. Yes, Angats, absolutely. That works great, especially when you do blitz or bullet, but even rapid and stuff. Yeah, first thing, the greatest plan of them all would be just let's try not to blunder pieces. That's the first thing. Just don't blunder pieces if possible. Because if you blunder pieces, then it's not going to be anything that good. Yes, yeah. First thing, don't blunder pieces. Mobilize your pieces as quickly as you can. From the back rank, king safety by castling, and that is just great. Okay. Right. And the Colombian Grandmaster now needs to take a decision. Okay, guys, let's put it this way. What are White's best choices here? Let me get all the arrows off the board. All right. What do we do with White? I assume you don't want to give the h2 pawn, right? You don't. It's a disaster. So this one is to be discarded completely. So I can't think about rook a, d, or something because I don't want to lose the h2 pawn. Therefore, you've got to do either f4 or g3. Do you have any other choice than these two? I mean, a very good question. Is there any other choices? These are the only stuff I can think of now available for white. And now we can debate why one would be better than the other. Yeah. Why would one be favored? G3, okay, let's take them step by step. What's good about G3? Kind of stuffs the battery and you're not going to lose the pawn. But then H4. And I really don't know. G3, H4. Oh man, that's just not very appealing, is it? I gotta go back to F4 because G3 I hated due to H4 coming down the board. That's exactly why Magnus probably played H5 amongst other. Yeah, he wants to push and open up the H for the rook, and that's a problem for white, right? Yeah, F4 has to be F4. Yes, Angad, yep. Again, yeah, we have to try to make an effort finding the best move for Magnus, but for Garcia Roberto as well. So F4 is also my candidate move, my first move that comes to, not the first move that comes to mind, the move that I've deliberated with yourself, guys. And I think F4 probably. I don't know what else you could do here with white. You're threatening a fork, you're stopping the battery, taking on H2. And the only, well, not the only, one of the setbacks would be knight g4 invitational, which is going to happen. And you can't really take it with the bishop because h takes g, and then you're actually opening up for your opponent the h file as well. So f4, knight g4, I don't know how you play. That's another universe. That's another plan. I don't know what you play. Bishop d4, bishop f2, queen d2, rook d, rook fd, and before you realize, you just spent half an hour wondering what I do after f4, knight g4. And you look at the clock realizing, oh boy, I've just stayed here like 20 minutes, half an hour of this. And then you panic and play something. Well, I hope it doesn't happen for anyone, but I'm just giving you like an example. I mean, that's probably, uh, we had this experience ourselves. So yeah, f4 seems to be the most reasonable approach for white, and then some knight g4. To which, again, I don't know what you play exactly. You could do 3-4 candidate moves beyond that point. But f4 being the first move. Shall we go to Richard Report again? And we're gonna come back to Magnus and Garcia Roberto. Fabi, Wesley, Levon, Richard Report. There you go. Richard Report. Yeah, bishop g5. We've said that. Hey, he took en passant. He took en passant. Opening up the a for the black rook. Notice how the knight currently can't really go c4 because the rook is hanging. f4, yeah. It's threatening a fork. f4 is the only one, Angad, exactly. Hey, by the way, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and TikTok, or for the respective platforms you visited the stream. Appreciate it, guys, so we can get in touch for the future as well. Bishop g5, that's a pin. Always good to make a pin. Almost always good to make a pin. So there's nothing wrong with the bishop here. Maybe you can dream about queen d2 and then bishop h6 and trade off the bishop, but that bishop is not that strong, in it. I'm not sure I want to trade it. I mean, maybe you should, because after bishop takes, queen takes. But you need to make sure h3 has been played as well. Aw, you can't play more than one move per turn, so you gotta decide if it's queen d2 or h3. But if you ever dream about playing queen d2 with white, I guess you gotta play h3, make sure there is no bishop or knight, and then you go queen d2 and try to play this. If they take, you take, then knight g5, and black can't play the knight because it's checkmate on h7. But I think we got ahead a little bit. It's black's turn. And now black probably thinks about developing the bishop on c8. Where does that bishop go? Does it go e6? Let me do the candidate moves. Is it bishop e6 or is it bishop g4? Where does the bishop go? I guess you don't want to play a6, do you? I mean, should you? I don't know. Yeah, the pin on God. Exactly right. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah. I mean, looks to me, in all circumstances playing chess, you have to look for the most aggressive moves, the most problematic for your opponent moves. So the most aggressive move would be bishop g4, but Richard goes h6. What can I say? Bishop now being attacked. He wants to make sure that the bishop either takes or goes h4. But then is he really happy with pushing g5? Really? No. That's a mouse slip. Sorry, guys, I pressed the wrong piece. Oof. Can you imagine when this thing happens in a live game and you do mouse slip? That's painful. And it happened to me quite a few times. So h6, that's why in the rapid I put the confirmation button. But I don't have the confirm button in the blitz or bullet. You can't do blitz bullet with confirmation. You're going to lose on time. I don't like h6 very much, on God. But hey, that is me. And Richard knows better. But I'm not incredibly ecstatic about it playing h6 here with black. I'm not sure it's a mistake, but definitely maybe not this. I mean, I think and then feel that bishop g4 would have been the real deal. And actually, let's put it to the test, on God. I think it's absolutely fair now if we ask the software h6 or bishop g4. So let's ask the Almighty. The Almighty says b5. Bloody hell. And the Almighty then says bishop g4, which is stronger than h6. So actually, our move was better than Richard's from this point of view. So yeah, bishop g4, we weren't wrong in a bit. b5 is a very advanced bloody move, and I think it has to do with b5, c4 ideas. But we were absolutely spot on with bishop g4, my friend. So now you got a supreme confirmation. If we say that h6 is not very attractive. Actually, it's a weakening move. Because assuming bishop doesn't take the knight, let's imagine bishop goes h4. Are you going to keep pursuing the bishop with g5? Really? You weakening all the bloody light squares and stuff. I don't think bishop h4, g5. If bishop h4, I don't know what he plays. Bishop h4 and what? Bishop g4 then? So not great fan of h6. I'm not a great fan of Richard's last move. No, 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 and no. You already have a fianchetto. Why would you push that H? I don't like it. Anyway. Oh, no. Oh, come on. The Austrian player took on f6. Wasn't he supposed to go h4? What, is there anyone getting trapped here or something? I don't... Okay, it's time to find out. Bishop takes f6. Bishop h4 is not that great because b5, c3, rook d8. This is weird, man. Bishop h4. Let's go to Magnus. Good idea. Again, guys, there's so many good games at the same time happening simultaneously that it's an absolute pain not being able to covering them all. So let's look. Hey, what he played. Hey guys, Aga, do you remember when we said f4? This is the another yet correct prediction, Angad. We did say f4. And the stuff that actually was a little bit concerning for me watching White's point of view, yeah, we did say about that one. And if you want to play really this little game, we can try and make prediction more and more and more until the very end. So f4, we did conclude that actually was the most solid response. g3 is awful due to h4. So f4. And Angad, didn't we say knight g4 as well? Didn't we say exactly this stuff as well? I did the comment minutes ago. Whoops, I apologize. We did say f4. We did say knight g4. We did. So there you go. There you go. e5 now, which has the purpose to shutting off this dangerous battery with queen and bishop. So the bishop must move. Yeah, you're going to lose your beautiful bishop, but you got to move that guy away. You can't just take now because they're going to take with tempo attacking your queen. So let's just explain to our friends, but I'm pretty sure you guys noticed. You can't say taking on e3, that is losing. The pawn is going to take attacking the queen with tempo. So even if you grab a rook, they're going to be taking your queen. And you just lost the game. So a grandmaster can't really do this, so you have to play bishop e7. Exactly, Angad. That's what I said. This thing has to be your daily routine, mental hygiene as a chess player, just watching these guys. Keeping your mind as sharp by watching the best playing chess and predicting all the candidate moves, trying to explain to yourself as much as possible. And eventually, you're going to be playing like this, guys. Now, after bishop e7, probably the Colombian grandmaster said, I'm not going to give you I'm not gonna. Oh, I got a message. I'm not gonna give you my beautiful bishop. So he didn't want to lose the bishop, right? Taking by the knight and things. So he played bishop e5. I don't know what to say about this. He also wanted to keep the bishop on this diagonal. Oops. And I think I might know why. I might, but I'll explain in human words. I mean, can it be some other words than human? Probably. I don't know. Right. So bishop d4. The idea, I think, if you were to do h3 at some point, first you're going to make this knight incredibly marginal. Incredibly marginal. And then perhaps you can dream about queen e3 looking at b6. What do you think about this idea, my friends? Jonathan, Anga, then actually the rest of our friends. Kirill Shevchenko. Hey, we gotta see that one, especially if it's a Sicilian. Probably what? Did he take rook takes c3? Oh, man. What bishop sack? What do you mean? What? Rook, queen battery. Where's the battery? Huh? Okay, d6 being played by Magnus now. He just played and he spent considerably more time than his Colombian counterpart. So he spent more time, Magnus, here than the other guy. d6. Okay, I don't even know what to say about this move. I think, well, actually, I know. If you take, good stuff. Let's see the pros and the cons for this stuff. The consequences. If you capture, bishop takes, and you're going to enable black to hit the f4 again, bringing back black's idea with the battery and the knight and h2 and things. That's what happens. I'm not sure you should take. If you do take, though, you might be dreaming about this. You might be hoping your bishop becomes active along this diagonal. What's this message? No, they are not. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, I'll open the door. That's all right, guys. Yeah. Okay, so it's open up for debate, fellas. If you think white should be taken on d6 or not, I wouldn't take on d6. I wouldn't take on d6. I have to explore other ideas. Either h3, kick that knight on the rim, and blocking the rook along the h file. So I'm thinking about this one, but there is a lot of pressure here as well. They take, you take. That doesn't work. Look, bishop d4 maybe wasn't the best ever move. But anyway, here we are. How do you react to this? Complicated. Very complicated now. You've got a few things. Bishop f3. Knight e4. Which one is it? Bishop f3 also is a cool move. Bishop f3, pawn takes, right? Yeah, but you take with check. Queen must take. And then you're going to take here. What do you think about knight e4? I don't think knight e4. Let me think a little bit. Let me erase all those arrows, man. Knight e4. They're going to take on e5. They attack it 3 times. You defend it twice. It's a cool thought. I think probably needs analyzed in depth. Knight e4. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Knight takes, attacking your queen. And then they're going to be bringing a rook over to the d file. I like bishop f3. I'm nullifying the incredibly strong active bishop on c6. Yeah, but they're gonna take first. And knight on e4, yeah, I'm not sure. I like to make sure that the bishop had disappeared. The black bishop on c6 that looks directly onto g2. So I want to make sure that bishop is no longer in the game. If I am to think for white, bishop f3, I want to make sure that bishop is gone. If they push, I don't have a problem, I think, with that. I'm okay, but they're not going to push. They're going to take on e5. So you got to take this thing. Whoa. Did he actually take? No, he didn't. Mouse slip. Bishop f3. If they take, you take, takes, and then capture with the pawn. So I think it works for white. Bishop f3. I like bishop f3. h3 doesn't work because they're going to take on e5 with the pawn. You take, you're going to open up the h for them, and it's not looking good. I mean, bet in a way of saying bishop f3, I think, is the stuff for white, I guess. Then we're going to check again. So, you know what's the cool stuff is you do the candidate move prediction. And when the players do whatever they do, I mean, you can check with the software and see if your move is at least on the first 5 lines suggested, found by the software. So you could always do that for white and black. It's quite mentally exhausting at some point, especially after a couple of, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever. That's why chess is very, very mentally challenging, because at some point you're just getting tired of all those calculations, what ifs, all those what ifs that never end. Yeah, I don't know, bishop f3, I like it. If bishop takes, queen takes, and all of a sudden you threaten take the rook, you force black maybe to move king or to castle, you might be threatening to pushing the f. So bishop f3, all in all. That's what I think. And I think, guys, if you want to go quickly and see what Dingley ran or Vidit or the other super players, hey, there's so many things I want to see. I don't know. It's just too many good players, too many fabulous players. All right, the famous streamer again and commentator and super grandmaster Peter Lecco. Peter Lecco playing here in Budapest, of course, for his own country. Knight d4, c4, c4. Those both knights are sort of an outpost. Now, when you do a move like c4, the black knight will never be challenged by any pawn. There is no other pawn. See, if you really want to get rid of this guy, you're going to have to trade him. I guess his plan is to take the knight at some point, and after black takes with this one, this bishop actually doesn't do nothing. Like, doesn't do nothing. But what do you do after c6? What exactly do you do after c6? You take and queen takes. It's not clear. I'm sure he did some in-depth calculations here. c4. Why not c3? I mean, why not challenge this guy? They take, you take. Okay, then I'll take. Queen takes, pawn takes. Double pawns and isolated on h. So really, the question is, why not is c3 that bad of a move? Angad, what do you think? Jonathan, my friends, what do you honestly think about c3 here? So let's look in hindsight a little bit. What is wrong with c3? You guys tell me what's wrong with c3. And of course, I'm going to ask the software, what does he think about c3? I think it's very reasonable. Hello, Rio. Hi there, my friend. How's it things for you? How's it going? Yeah, I don't know. Let's ask, actually. I want to know this. A4 says the software. F4, knight d4, g3. Well, there is no light square bishop. That's worth the point. G3, knight f6, c4. Is c3 a blunder? Plus 0.1. Let me just play that one. It's no blunder. C3 is not a blunder. Okay, maybe not the top three. No, it's plus 0.1. That doesn't mean anything. But I'm challenging this guy anyway. Knight takes, queen takes. I'm relatively happy. Anyway, I'm just a human, right? That wasn't a blunder, though. That wasn't a blunder. But Leko went with something that software loves it a bit more. Hey Rio, we can definitely doing that Puzzle Rush thingy on. No, Puzzle Rush is on Chess.com. Leeches guys have the what is it? The Puzzle Storm Race. What's that? Race puzzle things. Yeah. Okay, back to Magnus then, folks. I guess most of you want to see the goat. Hey, why didn't move nothing? Now the time gets leveled. Why didn't move nothing? This is not an easy position to really do the best stuff here. Okay, I'm gonna ask the software again. Guys, let's throw our candidate moves and then we're gonna check with the software. I'm gonna propose bishop f3 for white. I don't like h3. I don't like knight e4. It could be played also e, d, bishop takes. And then you're going to be incredibly dangerous. My God, I don't want to take on D. No, no, no. Bishop f3. Bishop f3. Bishop f3. Bishop f3. I don't know what else to play. I don't like anything. But very likely I'm not seeing the whole things. Can I do h3 though? No, they take on e5. The problem is that the e5 move. Yeah, bishop f3. Okay. Let's see. ed6, bishop g4 takes. Oh my God. Hey, my move. Yeah, victory. The third line of the engine, bishop f3. Look at this, Angan. It's not that great though. ed6 is doable, but black is better. Bishop f3, it's not that great though. It's the third line of the engine, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. Bishop g4, it's also horrible because you're opening up the rook. I don't like it. ed, actually the only reasonable approach here. Oh, h3, I think it's a disaster of a thing because black will take on e5. And it's just bad. And it's just bad. Opens the h for the rook after you take with a pawn, the knight, and they will take your bishop. You take them, probably there's another bishop coming, hitting the queen, hitting b2, the c3 diagonal. I think it's a slaughter here, so no. h3, not that much. Yeah, bishop f3, the third line of the engine, but it's not very optimistic. Well, the software prefers ed, with still advantageous for black, but at least gives you some counterplay, I suppose. With that bishop on that respective diagonal. Very hard task for Garcia Roberto, Colombian Grandmaster. That's a very tough meeting for himself now. Right, another of your favorite streamer. Who was that? David Howell. Is David Howell playing today? David, yes, he plays Mads Andersen. Okay. David is with the black pieces. Mads Andersen with whites. They both have the bishop pair. But somehow the black bishops seem to be a bit more active because the white bishop is very painfully positioned here. What does that bishop do? Well, Nothing. Actually, blocks the rook. Does do nothing. So obviously there was no point for David Howell to have traded the knight on f3. So he did the right one and actually puts a bit of pressure here. Specifically after the black pawn will take on c3. You're also inviting the queen to join the attacking party. And all in all, I think black's better here. And if you want to play a game, I could try an anticipation. I could try an Oh, we already have the evaluation gauge. Damn. All right. Yeah, I think black's better a little bit here. Because of that bishop's position. Again, I don't know where the bishop on c1 is going to go. Maybe f4. That's the best spot for the bishop, right? Or do you want to go bishop d2? Because black wants to take. That's what we said. So then you can take with your bishop looking this way. Yeah, probably bishop d2, probably bishop f4. Knight d4. Let me think. Maybe. Knight d4, knight takes, pawn takes. But maybe. Yeah, perhaps. Queen takes, bishop takes. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so very much. Yes. 437, 437. Yeah, you have to. Do you have to take that guy? I'm not sure. I don't know. Bishop d2. I don't know. Bishop d2. I want to get my bishop somewhere. Bishop d2, and if they take, I'm going to play bishop c3. I don't know. That is why it's time consuming. Yeah, perhaps. I understand what you're saying, Angad. You might be right. I understand what you're saying. Hey, there's so many good games. Gawain Jones, Maksudlu. Wow, so many strong players in this event. There's too many good guys playing. Alexei Shirov. It's just wow. Okay. Which one did we say? Too many. Oh, we got him here. Okay, we've got him here. Fabio Wesley as well. Prague. Okay, let's have a look at Prague here. Then we're gonna go to Magnus. Prague's being black here. Oh, that's h3. It's a desperate attempt trying to break the pin. Doesn't mean he's gonna accept. Oh, he did accept. You need to find a library. But look, have you tried Chessable? They've got short and sweet courses online, and you've got 5 slots for free, and it's completely safe, Wesley. As per books, I can't make you a recommendation for the PDF online books. I'm pretty sure if you just type it in or something, you might something just show up. If you type in free chess books or something, or chess books, I mean, it's got to be something for sure. I know what you mean about a virus, so it's got to be a little bit of a legit one. So Chessable is awesome if you're interested in the openings, and not just openings. You got the short and sweet version, so you don't have to pay anything. Unless you want to deepen the studies and things. Yeah, I don't download online. Probably I should, but I don't. Yeah, I'm using a lot of the Chessable or the Lichess database or playchess.com database and Chess 365. These guys have a lot of good stuff that I didn't even find it on playchess.com. Or so 365 chess. So they have a very, very generous database, and it's accessible kind of for free. Just make an account with an email address. That's definitely worth looking at. Ooh, the postman. God, I gotta open up door. I'll be back in a sec. Postman. Right, where were we? Let's see what's going on in our games here. Back to Magnus. Magnus here. Okay. Hey, this guy didn't move nothing. Oh. Yeah, that's a tough moment. Actually, this is a very, very important moment here. This is actually a very committal sequence here. It's incredibly important if you capture or bishop f3 or whatever you play. It's very, very committal. There is no going back after this moment. There is no going back. A tough one for white. Very sharp. We'll definitely see what happens. Hey, Angad, appreciate your question. You ask our online friends what white be playing. We also saw a little bit Richard and Valentine. Bishop, what? Bishop d7. Yeah, I did say about bishop c4 something. Takes. Knight c4. I did say knight c4 because it looks nicely at b6. Rook b8. Huh. Rook b8. Could you have considered just moving bishop somewhere now and connect the rooks? I wonder if, I don't know, getting bishop somewhere. I don't know. I mean, could you have played bishop b6, bishop g4, connect the rooks, white take rook, black takes rook back? Could you do such a thing? I wonder. I wonder if that's approachable like this. Bishop b6, bishop g4, rather than rook ba. Why would you give up on the a file? Very honest question. Why would you guys give up on the a file playing rook b8? Why? Because you want to push the b in something? Very unexpected. Very unexpected. Yeah, I think bishop should be developed though. Well, I'm talking nonsense. That pawn is under attack. That pawn is under attack. It's a must. Yeah, ideally you want to get the bishop, but that pawn is under pressure. You're actually going to lose the pawn. You can't do that. So he lost the a file, but he defends the pawn. Queen to d2 attacks a weakness on h6. Bishop g7 defending the pawn. Okay. Probably you could have played king h7. I'm not sure. h3, a little bit prophylactic and limiting the bishop's activity. So as per not allowing bishop g4. So h3 does not allow bishop g4. b5 now, you try to do something. If you move the rook over to the b file, at least you're just doing something. So b5 now attacks the knight. Knight has to go. And knight goes to a5. And there is another fork threat. c6. Knight takes c6. Look at this. Now you have to defend, right? Which is exactly what Richard does. Bishop d7. And it is what it is. Another question would be for the marginal white knight. What exactly are you doing over there? Where do you want to go? You can't go anywhere. They will have to waste another tempo moving maybe knight back in the game. Or could you do... Well, I don't know. That knight doesn't do nothing at the minute. That knight is not going to go anywhere. Yeah, but it keeps an eye on the c6. Okay. I think black wants to also play this f5 move, I think. Open up the f for the rook. And maybe if there's any exchange, your bishop's going to come to life at some point. If there's any exchange on f5, maybe this guy comes to life, that bishop, becoming more active and thing. Perhaps. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, we also watched a bit of the Peter Lecco confrontation here. Knight d4, c4, knight e6, back. Oh, he wants to go f4. He wants to go here, and if you take pawn's going to take, all of a sudden, the bishop on f6 becoming very, very, very active. Angad, you said pawn c3 to what game in particular? You talking about Richard Report game? I don't know what game exactly you're referring to. I guess to that one? Or you wanted to say c4. Maybe you wanted to say c4. Anyway, I guess knight f4 is the intention now for black. For Raga Marcus, knight f4. If you take, pawn takes. Thank very much for the bishop's diagonal. Well, you don't have to take, do you? But if you don't take the knight here, it's quite an annoying knight. Well, you could do g3. And then they will have to take, I guess. Yeah, to Richard you said. Okay, we're going to go and revisit that game as well. So, back in the... if white really want to make sure there is no knight on f4, they could just do g3. That's it. You do g3, there is no knight. And there is no light square bishop either, so you don't have a problem with a potential pin or anything. And anyway, I think it's quite stopping. It's prophylactic. Yeah, g3, I think. Makes sense. I guess Peter Lecco will go for this. I mean, it makes sense. Back to Magnus. M-A-G. That's enough. Here he is. Oh, man. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. So, Garcia Roberto had at some point like 20, 25 minutes extra available. And now he's even lower in time control than Magnus. Because the position is incredibly difficult. Yeah, and it's a crucial moment here. Totally. Probably he's gonna stay even more. Okay. So we've seen Peter Lecco. It was Prague also. We also watched Prague. He definitely not sleeping. He is definitely not sleeping. I'm sure he's not sleeping. I think actually maybe he tries to figure out how to get out of the mess. Probably that move that he played, Bishop d4, was not maybe the best ever. So he should have explored some other things. Right. Prague is with the black pieces. He played g6. Guys, have you noticed also? I think it's quite instructive, this idea. You do the g pawn because there is no dark square bishop. If there were the dark square white bishop, that would have been a disaster. That's a disaster. But because there is no dark square white bishop, it's relatively safe to push g6. There's no bishop. So it's important, I think, to understand this idea. And probably king can go g7 as well. So black doesn't want to take, I think, because white's going to take and going to be amassing some forces along the b file. Although b6, I guess, will shut it off, but you need to calculate a5. Prague is always playing good. He's always playing good. He is a super grandmaster. Prague beaten Magnus, I think, once or twice. Once for sure. So you just don't mess with this guy. So I think the Indian team probably the strongest. They might be very well winning. Prague is incredibly strong. There's no doubt about it. And our generic guys here as well. These guys are really good. The whole I mean, in India, they emphasized a lot of the chess education stuff, and the result is you got a generation of very strong grandmasters. G6 for King G7, and I don't know. You waiting, see what White decides. It's not too much happening, maybe. So he said, I can afford the luxury to play G6, King G7. As per what he drinks, I have no idea. No idea what he drinks. It could be any tea, coffee, or energy drinks and stuff. Dingley Rand, Vladimir Ferasev. Looking at this one as well. What's going on here? Knight c5. Well, attacks the bishop on d3. Bishop c2 goes to safety. Yes, it's one of the best things you could do. I mean, thinking their game through your own mind, of course, that's one of the best things you could do. If you got a couple of friends online or something and you can join the effort, it's great, yeah. Bishop d6 by Ding. Guys, look at the idea behind it. Bishop d6 opposes the bishop on f4, which is very active, not allowing c7 usage, not allowing rook b8 if ever. So bishop on e7 didn't do nothing on e7, right? So bishop d6 opposes this bishop. Bishop d6. And now he didn't take, but he instead did knight e5. So I'm not sure you want to take because bishop's going to take, and again, you'll get back to the issue you just had. That very dangerous bishop cutting all the dark squares. Yeah, that's a different stuff. Guys, open that door. Oh my god. Be back in a sec. Okay. We'll do after the stream. Eat something, fix that thing. You need to put the email address, blah blah blah. It's quite cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you need to set up things. Okay. And still more to go. Let's go back where we were. All right. 95. 95. Well, you don't want to take on e5. Of course, you don't want to take on e5. Could you do? No, you cannot because it's b6 coming. And then you're going to lose all the space. Look at this one. Queen c7, b6, queen b8. It's horrible. No, you can't do queen c7. Can you challenge this knight? No, 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 no. Did he take? No, that's a mouse slip, guys. That's exactly right. Anga, that is exactly right. Well, a knight is cool. Yeah, I like this knight. Maybe the other knight on f6. Knight takes, bishop takes or something. Maybe knight f6, e7. Maybe. Knight takes, bishop takes. Maybe. I don't know what you play. g5 is horrible. It's completely horrible. Weakens everything around the black king. So definitely not an option, I think, for Dingley Ren here. I don't know what he's going to do. I would say maybe knight d7. And we'll see if that comes to be true or not. Let's see what the other guy did in Magnus's game. Roberto didn't move nothing in the last half an hour. I don't know how long did he spend exactly, but I think it's 15 minutes at least. He didn't move anything. E5, D6. He didn't move nothing. I don't know. He froze. He's something. He's calculating a lot. I really don't know what he does. It is an important moment, that's for sure. And he knows it, guys. He knows it. Yeah, of course. Comes with consequences. Pretty much everything you move now here comes with consequences. ED will be answered most definitely with bishop takes d6. And then you've got both bishops looking towards your king. The knight, which is here, also looking at h2. And as a counter idea, you do have the bishop going for g7. And yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no other wonderful alternative. No, he didn't play it. That's a mouse slip. I thought at some point, and I was discussing with the other guys about bishop f3, which is not that great. But what else can you do? Yeah. And yeah, hey, let's see what Mamediaro Shakria plays. Mamedyarov with the white pieces. Again, very aggressive here. He wants to go h5. The h pawn, always using the h pawn to dispersing those pawns defending king. And there is a nice, yeah, no, you don't want to give up on the bishop only to do double pawns on the c. That's not. So he delayed the castle. I'm not even sure he gonna castle. He went h4 as his last move. Can you believe that? Personally, I would have played something like bishop d. No, you can't. This is a disaster. There is rook and that's a blunder. No way, Jose. No, 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 no. So h4 makes sense. It goes for the attack. You can't. Can you kick the queen away? You cannot. You can't do this. The b4 is hanging. How do you send that queen away? You kind of cannot. And yeah, he hopes that maybe this battery, queen and bishop and pawn, would be something with opening the h file maybe. If black doesn't take, obviously black's not gonna take, but you can take on g6. And maybe that means something. I don't know. You would be good also. Would be good to, if queen is deflected, so you take the pawn. If queen takes here, this guy on e5 is capturable. So you play a4, you attack the queen. Queen takes this. Queen is under attack. Queen takes b4. And then perhaps you could play knight e5. That's not that bad. Knight takes, bishop takes. And all of a sudden, your bishop is just destroying everything. And then maybe you got a chance to push h4 to h5. Can you even think about sacrificial here? A sacrifice on a... Oh, sorry, you play a4, you lose b4 for taking on e5. Probably you should think about that idea too. Alexei Shirov with black. Playing for Spain. Okay, what do you do? He is black. He's playing with a player from Cuba. Carlos Daniel, Grandmaster as well. That would be good, but you can't play because there is a knight here. So you can't play rook g3. It's completely not playable. I don't know what do you play. Bishop f4. It's white's turn, right? Okay. Bishop f4. Bishop f4 is not a bad idea after all. I guess. Can you? Is there a sacrifice here that you need to do? But I'd love to have the bishop developed first thing first. Should do second exchange here? Look, this is Angad. What do you think, Rio? What do you think about rook takes d? Is it worth it? He played the sacrifice, but he didn't play rook takes d7. He played bishop d5. Bishop d5. Pawn can't take, that's for sure, because it's pinned. And yeah. Can you play rook d7? Hold on a sec. Nah, that doesn't work. Bishop d5 actually does work. Great time. Cool stuff. Absolutely. Very good stuff there. Matthias Bluebaum, Alexander Donchenko. Too many good games at the same time. Too many good games. Matthias Bluebaum. Rook attacking white queen, rook b2, you take, I take, challenging. You could maybe go for a threefold repetition of things. Takes, 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 takes. Or at least up and down until, you know, if he wants to draw, that is. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you should draw here. I think white is okay. It's very good here. If you play something like knight c5, this bishop will never do anything. Yeah, no, forget about it. It's knight c5, the move here. It's knight c5, right? Knight c5, and this bishop doesn't even exist. The bishop on b7. It needs to go on c8 or something if you really want to try something. Knight c5. I like it, knight c5. I guess it's a good choice here, knight c5. There's also... Yeah, there you go. Boom. Yeah. We found this one at least. Knight c5 makes a lot of sense. That's all right, Angad. If you thanks very much for stopping by. I guess you kind of like perhaps subscribe if you think you want to meet up again in the future with our friends here. David Howell. Yep. Thank very much. Take care of yourself and see you on the next occasion, maybe. Bye for now. Ta. Queen d7. Queen d7. Bishop f1 he played. Okay. Okay, let's see if the Colombian Grandmaster actually decided to play something. Oh boy, he did spend considerable time here. A lot. And he decided to play ED. Oh, where's the board? Where did the board disappear? All right, let me see if you guys see it. Yeah, okay, here it is. Right, so bishop d6. So what we're having here in the Magnus game, it's an incredibly dangerous battery, an hyperactive bishop, which you might be able to nullify with bishop f3. But in what order, I don't know when. Now you've got a problem with f4. Thank you for subscribing or following or liking the stream. Appreciate. So, very difficult moment. What do you play for f4 not being lost? What exactly are you playing? So feel free, guys, to push a candidate move. Is that delivery? No. So feel free to go with the candidate move here. What is white supposed to play? If you go g3, yeah, that's the delivery guy again. Gee, hold on a sec, guys. Be back in a minute. All right. Oh, man. Coming. Sign in or something? Cheers, man. Cheers, brother. Oh, it's thing, right? Okay. All right, where were we? Okay. So, back to Magnus's game. What happened here? Right, so we were saying last time that if we do G3, it's just not okay because you're completely naked on this diagonal. Talking about this diagonal here. So G3 is horrible. Oh, this cable, man. Too many cables. Right. So what do you play? Do you push? And if you push, you've got a massive problem on the H2. I don't even know how you're going to be defending. What else is here available for white? What else? The engine says it's absolutely fine. 94. 94, 94, 94, 94, 94. Bishop takes, right? 94. Are you sure? Maybe you have to move the queen, but where? How do you defend that for? You go queen G3? I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know yet. I have to look a little bit. Maybe you're supposed to take the knight first, but then it's, oh my god, you give up. You give up on the H file? Bishop takes, pawn takes. Bishop takes, pawn takes. And then we play. Wait a minute, but why can't we do. Wait. No, I don't like that thing. Why don't we do bishop e5? Have we looked at. I mean, we're losing the pawn, but we open up the f maybe. Bishop, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. It's still very horrible. I don't know. Are we supposed to take on g7? Nah, I don't know. Rook g8. This is, oh my god. Which way do you go? What do you do? So taking on g7 is not very attractive now. Bishop takes g7, rook g8. Do you really like this? Having the rook on g file? I mean, not just that you have the bishops. Now if you do bishop g7, you're going to be adding the g file to black's activity. It's horrible. So g7, bishop takes g7 should be completely discarded. You can't even think of that. I mean, you can think of that, but you shouldn't be doing it, I guess. Totally not. No. No. Bishop g7, out of the question. Out of the question. Nope. What on earth is white supposed to do? Bishop f3. Let me go back. Bishop f3. Yeah, bishop f3. Bishop f3. Of course, bishop f3. Bishop f3, if bishop takes on f4, you're going to take your check, queen takes, and then you're winning the piece. Bishop f3. Oh, whoa. He didn't do that. It was a mouse slip. Refresh the page again. And let me think. Bishop f3. Bishop takes. Yeah, bishop f. What do you think about bishop f3? Let me do the arrow again. Bishop f3. What do you think about this? Is it very bad, bishop f3? What do you think? Bishop f3 for white. Bishop f3. I think I sort of like it. The engine says if you look at the Valba, I mean, I'm talking about the evaluation simply. The engine says it's very even. It's very balanced. It's equal. Yeah, we just try to identify the best way to play for white here. Probably bishop f3. Okay, shall we go back to what? There are so many good games. So many good games. Richard Report and the other guy, then Peter Lecco again. Bishop d7. Knight, yeah. So you remember, guys, we said that knight on a5 doesn't do pretty much nothing here. So you got to spend the tempo getting the knight in action. That's exactly what he did. He played knight b3, the player representing Austria. Knight b3. At least you got a knight back. Bishop e6 now by Richard, threatening to give white double pawns on the b file. So you can't allow that to happen, right? You can't allow that to happen, and you need to figure out something. Oh, I'll tell you what. You go back. You go with the knight back. You're not going to play on the first rank unless you want to play knight c1, knight e2, knight g3. You know, in chess, it is said that if you have the bishop pair, I mean, the player with the bishop pair is doing better than the player with the knights. But now Richard needs to find a way to do something with the bishop on g7 because that bishop is currently a bit stuck. I guess you can think about h6, king h7, and king h7 and bishop h6. Yeah, maybe. Because currently the bishop on g7 really doesn't do nothing. It's just a pawn. Yeah, the bishop on g7 does not exist. Valentine plays queen c3. Double attacking c5 and defending the knight. If bishop captures, obviously he's going to take back with the queen. He's not going to take with the pawn. He's not going to have double pawns on the b file. He's going to take back with the queen. Bishop takes, queen takes. Okay. Of course, if there's b4, again, you take the queen. You take the pawn. So black can't push the pawn. So I guess he's going to be taking the knight. Or he gonna start complicating with pushing c5 to c4. Maybe. It has to be analyzed. c4. I think it makes sense, c4. Assuming white takes, if you capture back with the pawn, all of a sudden you open the b. So it looks to me black should be seriously investigating c5, c4. This move. What do you think about this move, guys? Is this playable? c5 to c4? I think it sort of is, right? I think it sort of is. Hi there, my TikTok friends. And YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. I don't know if I forgot anyone on Facebook, but anyway. There is some chess clubs, chess groups, virtual chess groups on Facebook. I'm also, I think in like 15 of them or something. I lost track. It's too much. The social media is too much. It's too much. Yeah, Rio, hey man, enjoy the dinner. Enjoy the dinner. Be grateful for your dinner. And see you next time. Of course. We'll be around here for a while. Happy for you, my friend. Good stuff. Okay. So c5 to c4. If white takes, black gonna take back, opening the b and stuff. I think that's goodish. I don't think that's bad. Peter Lecco, let's see what the white pieces. What's going on here? Oh, 26 minutes. Oh. A4. C6, hitting the knight. You got to move the knight now. Knight E3. Oh. Bishop G5. Yeah, that bishop was horrible anyway. Yeah, the bishop on F6 was horrible. I mean, you didn't do nothing. Notice how the bishop is just a big pawn here. It doesn't do nothing. So he said, yeah, I'm happy for you to take my knight if you want. And, if the knight takes, I guess you could take with the queen and then play knight f4 and then checkmate Pitaleko here after he moves the knight, which he's never going to do. But it's good to have a plan at least. It's good to have a plan, right? Knight takes, queen takes, not pawn. You don't have double pawns on the g file. Queen takes and potentially knight f4, knight h3, this guy is pinned, all sorts of things might happen. Yes. Also, if you take on b5, well, rook may or may not take. I think it should because the queen wants to stay connected with the bishop, right? In case knight captures. But you got the other knight. That is why chess is so complex, difficult, and it's time consuming. Because only these subtleties take like a lot of time to assess them properly. I mean, look, candidate moves, pawn takes, one. Secondly, knight takes bishop, two, second one. Do you really have to? G3, do you? Bishop takes, pawn takes, maybe. Opening up the F, perhaps. There's too many. Pawn goes up, creating a passed pawn. A5. You created the passed pawn, right? There are so many things. This. Which one is it? Rook Fa also, it's a good one. Rook Fa, getting more power on the A file. That's also a good idea. There's a lot of things. Yeah, I like that one too. A5 and Rook Fa1. Which one is it? Well, I'm very happy to see and learn from Peter Lecker. If Rook Fa1 or pawn going up. We'll see about that one. Hey, Jobava plays as well. Oh man, there's just so many good players. It's a really shame you can't cover them all. Right, for Georgia, of course, Jobava. You know, Jobava system in the London system. With nice e3, bishop f4, going for the c7 square. Okay. Takes and take. Jobava being black here. Queen takes, c3 hanging. Oh, well, not hanging. It's not. But the problem for white is this. And the queen. And the checkmate is the problem. And the c that attacks the queen. Where do you go? Oh, whoa. So the bishop on b7 is way more dangerous than anything else white needs to be aware of. That bishop on b7 is a disaster. You can't even trade that bishop with anything. They've got the opposite color bishops. This bishop on a3 suffers terribly. I mean, that's not that much of a dangerous diagonal in comparison with the bishop on b7. It was actually a destroyer. Bishop on a3 attacks empty space. Okay. Okay, that's stacking the queen. But I wonder, what if black says, thank you very much for making me redeploy the queen onto attacking g2? I mean, what if you're just helping black to reposition the queen and attacking you? But I guess Bardia's, how do I pronounce the name? I don't know. Danjva. Maybe bishop g3. He wants to do bishop g3 after queen g5, bishop g3. Maybe. And then you gotta worry about h5, h4. That's quite a thing. I think black is doing better here. Way better. Quite cool. Very good. Very good for black. Queen g5 and you're doing great. You're threatening checkmate. What's not to like about this? Bishop g3 also could be added to its problems, the h7 to h4. There's many things here for them. Let me go quickly to Magnus. Hey, I'm happy to see bishop f3. Oh, Anga, he's not here. Sorry, what's that guy's name? Angad. Angad is not here. I did plead for bishop f3 so many times, and there you go, bishop f3 in the end. Yeah, I think this is the one of the probably best replies to this big problem here with the battery. You try to cancel, you try to nullify that bishop. It's just too strong. Take a little bit off the intensity and trading that bishop eventually. I think makes sense, bishop f3. Of course it makes sense. That's a fabulous game, an absolute fabulous game here. Bishop f3. Now Magnus has the luxury of time. Not just that he's the best chess player on the planet. He's also having now considerable time advantage. 25 plus minutes here. It's a lot of time. Is he going to trade the bishop? If bishop takes, queen takes, and queen threatens to take the rook, obviously. So I'm not sure you're going to take the bishop. If you don't take the bishop, what exactly are you playing? Because bishop takes f4. Yeah, again, that doesn't work because bishop takes c6 check. And when you take, actually, you're going to be losing that guy. So, I mean, it's not working very well. So bishop f3, I'm happy that actually Garcia Roberto decided for this. Probably I would have played it way faster. But I'm pretty sure he saw many other things that I haven't. So that's why he spent a lot of time on this one, the Colombian Grandmaster. But definitely bishop f3, and I thought correctly. That's the response to queen and bishop battery f4. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So that's awesome stuff. We're going to call it a day for the time being. Got to do some other things around here. Thank you very much, guys, and appreciate your presence. Either TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, kick.com, etc. Subscribe to my YouTube, to my TikTok. Follow me, fellas, and we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow. I mean, you know, maybe we could do some 60 minutes, more or less, together. And yeah.